quick editor note and intro for this week's episode. For some reason, our Zoom pod track keeps corrupting the first minute of the fourth episode in our recording. So I have to format every single time now. In any case, let me introduce you to this week's episode. So this week we are going to be touching on The Proposal. It is written by Peter Chiarelli, starring Sandra Bullock, Ryan Reynolds, Mary Steenburgen, Craig T. Nelson, Betty White, and many more. Now, before I roll that intro, we would love it if you could subscribe wherever you get your podcast or on YouTube. And if you really enjoyed this episode, to share it with one single friend. It would really help us grow this show because we think that we have something special here and you are part of that. With all that being said, let's roll that intro. All right, welcome back. Question of the day.
Now,
I do have one. I was trying to think of the other movie that we watched that had the getting the coffee scene.
It was another Sandra Bullock movie.
I was going to say, I was pretty sure this is...
this is our third Sandra Bullock movie. I think we might have a little bit of a crush with Sandra Bullock, and I'm okay to confess that.
I'm okay to confess. I was going to bring this up. I 100% have a crush on Sandra Bullock.
I was watching the movie with my wife, and my wife's like, wow, Sandra Bullock just ages really well.
Beautiful.
And then, of course, I'm like, both of them. These two aged phenomenally.
They're freaking beautiful people.
Yeah.
Super. We recently did a trailer reaction for Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
Even as
burnt
Ryan Reynolds still looks good
with a big old wig.
A toupee. Which movie does it better, Miss Congeniality or this movie when it comes to the coffee pickup?
This movie.
100% this movie.
There's something, which I think I said it in that episode, like her coming in with like flashing her gun. I'm like, that cops always using their authority to get their ways. That didn't age well.
No.
Actually, it didn't hit well back then, but no, yeah, this movie does it better. Also because like it tells us like later we find out like a little bit more about like how Andrew, Ryan's character, always has a backup just in case.
Yeah.
And then obviously he gets the girl's number.
Yeah. I just love that he like she's like pops her head out.
Yeah. The fact that like she knows him by name.
Yeah.
Has his order ready. This is before the Starbucks app. In New York. This doesn't happen in New York. Yeah. 2009. Are you kidding me? No way.
No way.
No, I'm just projecting my insecurities that no waitress or hostess ever
would care about you enough to know your order.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is.
I feel like they would probably do it if you're a regular. When I worked at Subway, we had regulars, and I knew. I can't remember his name, but he'd come in almost every day at 11:30 to get his.
Do you remember still?
Wow. Tuna melt with literally just lettuce, and calls it a day.
When I worked I worked in the restaurant industry for many years in college, and I had my regulars that would come in, and I knew what cocktails they wanted.
Yeah.
Go mix it up. Go serve it to them. I had my regulars.
That's right. Anyways, good stuff. All right. So to begin the discussion for Proposal, I just wanted to touch base with the fact that the comparison to this movie and The Ugly Truth is wild.
So both movies came out in 2009.
Both movies came out in 2000.
If you haven't listened to our episode on The Ugly Truth, I think we did that like 3 weeks ago.
Go check it out. It's a pretty solid episode. It didn't get a lot of love in the downloads for that week, and I don't know what happened, but you guys should check it out because
it's a good episode because I felt very strongly about the characters.
Yes,
and you felt strongly opposite of how I felt, and I think this movie just solidifies how I feel. You're not going to change my point of view on this.
No, to me, I just am like it feels night and day difference.
Yes,
like I don't know what happened. I don't know. Honestly, I'm like, I don't know if a studio was like, oh, this other studio is coming out with a Sandra Bullock movie and Ryan Reynolds. We need to put out a romance movie or they're like, let's unshelve this one and let's put this together and get it out. Because like this movie feels way more polished.
Yeah.
It feels way tighter knit. It feels way still super relevant. All the truth, just like it's just a movie.
It happened, it came, it went, and it's
fine.
Yeah, this is better than The Ugly Truth.
Yeah, yes, 100%, yes.
This has
I don't know why you're being bashful about this.
This is a 6.7 rating on IMDb, and The Ugly Truth has a
like 4?
6.4. No way.
What?
What is wrong with you people? This is way better.
This is why because I think overall people are like, oh, this is a pretty decent movie. But then people do their initial reactions, and then you got to go back and visit some.
You got to go back and
Give me the breakdown for the proposal.
A pushy boss it forces her young assistant to marry her so that way she can keep her visa status in the States in order to avoid getting deported back to Canada.
Yeah.
And hilarity ensues.
Well done.
Let's start with that. A boss that blackmails their...
She doesn't even blackmail, bro. She steamrolls him.
Just straight up says, marry me.
No, she doesn't say marry. She just says, we're getting married. In front of like the CEOs of the publishing company.
Yeah.
Right? And he was in there only to bail her out. Okay? So he completely gets shook. Okay? I would be like, the fact that he plays... I mean, obviously it's a movie, but like if this is real life, he's cool as a cucumber. And I'm like, does he actually really want to sleep with this woman? Or he just really, really wants to get a book published?
He really wants that book published. Okay, so I said this during our episode of The Ugly Truth.
Yeah.
Our episode of The Wedding Singer. That I just love. In my rom-coms, I personally just love when our characters are put in like awkward situations.
Yes.
They're uncomfortable. It gives an opportunity for the actors to play with that, have some comedic elements into it. This movie does that times 100.
Dude,
there is so many moments where they're just this awkward situation. And the beauty of having a Ryan Reynolds who is so good with his comedic timing, one, so good with like facial expressions, and also just like comedic body language. It's great.
I would even add to that the fact that like Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock,
yes,
they're co-timing. They're like chemistry on screen as these two characters is top notch.
Yeah,
bro. Like Sandra Bullock is bringing in While You Were Sleeping vibes from like, but like this. She's like, okay, I'm gonna take this from here, and then I'm gonna take from here, and she pulls this character together. But you also have Ryan Reynolds a little bit more tame in here, in my opinion, and I appreciated him in this movie with like he wasn't. Sometimes when you watch a Ryan Reynolds movie, it's like Ryan Reynolds a little to the max. It's kind of like Jim Carrey. Like, you know how when you watch Jim Carrey movies, like it's Jim Carrey.
Yes.
And he has like his thing. But like, I just feel like, I don't know. I don't know what it is about I don't know if it's about the director. I don't know if it's about like, maybe he was like still early. I mean, he was still new to the scene, to the like, newish to this scene of like type of these romance movies, these more like, less actiony or like, because he was in Blade.
He had already been in Blade, yeah.
Yeah, he'd been Blade. Anyways, I just think like this, I don't know, it's just chef's kiss for reals.
No, and I mean, he had done Van Wilder, he had done other comedy stuff, right? So it's great when you have a comedic actor in a rom-com, because it really solidifies, it really, like I mentioned earlier, it really gives an opportunity to have the actor, the individual, really add those comedic elements through body language, through the timing, and that's great. Whereas, like, going back to The Ugly Truth, Gerard Butler, he's great and all, but like he is not a comedic actor.
No.
And I'm not saying that like stick to your lane, man. You're an action actor or whatever. No, like obviously great actors can do it all.
Right.
But it didn't work for me. In the ugly truth, right?
Yeah. And I don't, it could be a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
But when we compare these two movies, you really recognize how much that chemistry between those two really isn't there in The Ugly Truth versus The Proposal.
Yeah, yeah.
Which just really knocks it down.
Yeah.
When it comes to the I mean, look, already the chemistry between the leads, phenomenal. I love the it's here, and the fact that he has a backup for her coffee in case it gets spilled.
Yeah.
So he has to deal with that. But also that like he loathes her. We have this feeling of like dread. The opening sequence of her getting ready and like being on her speed bike with the like before Peloton was Peloton.
Yeah.
And her just like quintessential New York female or New York person who just is grinding,
yeah,
and
all the time.
He's just like, look, I have a mission and I don't have anything else that is going to come in the way of this, and I'm just doing this thing. And having him coming in with his like kind of knowing people, but also like knowing that he has to deal with what's about to come in. It almost has like a Devil Wears Prada vibe. Yeah, it doesn't hit quite the same as Devil Wears Prada because like that movie did like legendary, truly enjoyable for like I think of it's our meet cute with the characters.
Yes, that's true. It's untraditional in the sense that they already have a history, right? As employee, as boss and an employee, right?
Right.
So it's a meet cute as to for us, but it's really interesting because we see such a go ahead.
No, go ahead.
We see such a contrast between the two, right? A very like a structured individual who is working while she's biking. The other guy sleeps in through his alarm, okay, and is struggling to like get to the coffee shop. And even as she's coming into the building, and they send a message that I don't even remember what they call her. It's here. That's right.
They don't give her a name. They just say it's here. And then the witch is on her broom.
The witch is on her broom, right?
Code, bro. The code.
The code. Like, I would love for like an HR analyst to like analyze this movie and talk about like all the possible lawsuits that could happen from here. But yeah, just the interaction, and then for her, what I love also is that we get we understand the relationship. But there's a point in that first scene where he walks in, he gives her the coffee, right? And they're talking, and she says, "We got Bob to do Oprah," or something like that, or someone to do Oprah. And she says, "We need to go see Bob." About what? And then like he just kind of goes, and he goes like they have this relationship that they don't need to communicate verbally to know what the other person is saying, right?
I think we've said this in a couple of other episodes. Like, just drop us in.
Yeah.
Like, this is what they've done here. And I think this is why this movie is just way better. Like, we don't need them to, like, have this, like, a classic meet cute, right? Like, give us just, we're dropped into their lives. And I love from the get-go, right? When they go see Bob, she fires him. And Andrew is like, what is that? What? Okay, maybe I didn't understand what that, even though I knew, but maybe I didn't fully know.
Right. And like he just kind of like closes the door so that no one else hears. But it's again his ability to just like be like a fly on the wall, and just his facial expressions, his comedic ability to say what he needs to say to make us uncomfortable, laugh through what he's doing.
Yeah.
And again, in contrast with Sandra Bullock's like just dominance to be able to like carry that scene and just say, "No, you're gone."
And she's a powerhouse.
Oh yeah.
I mean, she's always been a powerhouse.
Always.
And so look, I kind of, I don't know, I really enjoy that this is the vibe that we're set with. Mm-hmm. Like these moments of like a tug like a tug of war thing
Yeah.
that is happening between Sandra Bullock and other individuals, and him being looped into things, and then we get the inciting incident, right, of Sandra Bullock's realizing that she's going to be deported and trying to make everything like she's a person who will figure it out. She's had to do everything by herself.
Yeah.
And so she's going to do what she can do to get out of this, right?
And again, we learn that the reason why she's getting deported is because she wasn't supposed to leave the country, but because someone dropped the ball, she flew out to Germany to get a deal done. And like, again, telling us the type of character that she is, that she's a hard worker. She gets stuff done. She doesn't need to rely on anyone. Like she has earned her success. Right. But because of that, now she's getting deported.
Yeah. Okay. Before we get into some of the the fun stuff that let's talk a little bit more about the two characters of Margaret Tate and Andrew Paxton. These characters that we're going to be following for the rest of this film, like, what is it about them that that provides the clash of romantic ideology, as well as some of their traits that we become endeared to?
Mm-hmm. I think, and you brought this up again, going back to the ugly truth. You brought up this. I kept saying that I just didn't believe their relationship.
Right.
And you mentioned something along the lines of like, they're such opposites. They hate each other so much that person, like, that person takes you, but to the point where you end up liking them, right? Or something like that. You said something along those lines. This is a perfect example of that.
This is a way better version of that.
Yeah. Because, like going back to the ugly truth, they're very different people. They don't, one's a bit misogynistic, comes off as misogynistic, right? They don't get along, yet they fall in love. No, here, what's really great is that from the moment, through these little moments of it's coming, the witch is on her broom, or even the other lines of like, I 3 days ago, I loathed you. I even dreamt about you getting hit by a cab. Like, we know that they don't like each other. And we're also shown why we shouldn't really like Margaret, right? The person that she is.
Yeah, she's overpowering. She comes in and she steamrolls individuals.
Mm-hmm.
She pushes things off that aren't important. She will always prioritize what her work is.
Yeah.
And does not care for any sort of level of emotion.
But we are given moments for us to like her. Not just to like her, but him and them together.
Yeah.
Which
Give
is
me some examples.
One, obviously the time that she spends with the family. Okay, from the engagement party, the strip, which we'll come back to the character who does it all in the town. But having those moments, right? Having the time with Grammy as she's trying on the dress, and Grandma just saying like, we as grandmas want to give things to our grandchildren so that way we feel like we're still in your lives after we've passed. And her having that realization that she's taking advantage of Andrew, but also impacting this family.
Right.
We have these moments where she breaks down.
Yep.
Right. And I think for me, what really did it this time around, I'd forgotten about this story element, but the strained relationship that Andrew has with his dad.
Oh, see, I think this is we talked about this in the ugly truth. Gerard Butler's character there was no substance to him in any other level.
Right.
It was just him as his character who comes on to talk about the ugly truth, and we just see like this little bit of him trying to help Katherine Heigl's character get laid. This is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like this is where we get to see the why he's putting like a level of why he went to New York, why he puts up with Margaret,
and
and him being there and doing the efforts. And at least to to a small glimpse of that, right? At the engagement or the homecoming party. And for like you said, these characteristics, like what I love that so much is that we get a sense of like where Margaret is as a character, as someone who to a degree, it's like she's not. We want to say initially we think she's selfish,
Yeah.
but at the end of like at the core of it, she's just a driven, and she was a character who had to do it alone.
Yes, and I think the movie does a really good job going back. If we're gonna compare Devil Wears Prada, right? She's not an innate bad person. She's someone that's gone through like trauma, right?
Yes.
Like at the end of this movie, Margaret needs to see a therapist. Like that's not a diss. That's just like she really needs to see a therapist. So like talk through this trauma because her parents died when she was 16. Who knows what happened between 16 and where she's at now, right? Like
and it's something that I honestly think that lacks a little bit in this film. Is that I kind of like watching this time around.
Yeah.
I've always loved this movie, right? And I will forever love this movie. But this time around, as we've looked through some stuff, I kind of feel on her end that I wish we'd gotten a little bit more from her. Now, do I feel like that because they didn't, we are left wanting like we were in The Ugly Truth? Absolutely not.
No.
Because we see her growth. Not only does she start her whole time with her ponytail up, by the end of it, she's like let go. Her hair is down. Like she has a physical transformation, not only like an actual like personality transformation, because she realized like her whole monologue at the end of the day is that like I didn't realize, I forgot what it was like.
I forgot what it was like to have a family.
Yes.
See, for me, yes, I do agree with you. I think we could have dug a little bit more into her, but that line does it for me.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, right? I think like because of what happens, her whole shell and her wall is broken, and she opens up like just with human realization that she has not only like for herself has walled herself and has tried to cut herself off from this love, but that she has perhaps made it not only hard for Andrew, but for her, possibly her whole company, her coworkers.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
That's a lot to like take in.
Yeah, and that's why we end up liking her. Whereas someone like I forget in The Devil Wears Prada, what's the character's name? Anyway,
I can't remember.
Yeah, she's going through like some challenges with stuff at home.
Yeah.
And like I think she ends up filing for divorce. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I need to watch it. But at the end of the day, like she is horrible.
Yeah,
she still screws everyone over.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas here, she is the way that she is because of what's happened. But we are given those moments to feel with her, to feel for her, and for her to, like you said, break out of that shell, have those walls come down, and say, "Oh, I've screwed up. I'm taking advantage of you. I'm impacting people's lives because of what I'm trying to do," and that's why we get won over.
Yeah. On Andrew's side, I mean, I feel like Andrew is a person who was raised with love. We even like the reason why his relationship with his father is so strained is because they don't see eye to eye on what they should do as like the respecting of like your own path of taking your own journey.
Yeah.
Right. For him, he sees, he looks at his life and he says, "Look, our family has been here and we are the town."
Yeah.
Right. We own the town. And so for him, he, maybe it's like, I want to be known as just Andrew.
Yeah.
I don't want to be known as Andrew Paxton, and being a legacy or whatever. Right. And continuing to run and, own the town, because that's just what family used to do.
Yeah. And we have that powerful moment where the dad's hitting the golf balls, right? and he comes and he says, I need to apologize. I've been writing my will, like blah 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 blah, and that's what Andrew says. Like, I'm doing what I'm doing in New York because it makes me happy, and that's what we need to know about Andrew. Like, he's working there. Yeah, it sucks, but like he has these goals, these desires. Yeah, he doesn't want to maybe, like you mentioned, this whole idea of being a legacy in this little small town, but like it's him standing up to his dad, right? Where he's not able to do that at work.
Yeah.
It gives, again, character growth for him to stand up for himself and say, I'm doing what I'm doing because I love what I do. Right. And again, that dynamic with the dad also puts him on a path to play along or to go with this engagement.
Yeah.
I think it's such a smart writing tool that they did here by having that strained relationship. I think any other writer would have been not lazy, but would have just said, yeah, let's have a family there who maybe is a little bit suspicious or whatever. But by going that extra mile and say, no, there's a strained relationship here, and that's also going to motivate Andrew to stick it to his dad by, no, I am going to marry her. No, I do love her. We've been dating for 6 months and we started dating and blah, 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 right? Like, it also adds to that tension.
Yes.
Which is so crucial in his growth.
Not only crucial for the growth, but crucial for the movie. Like, if like without this tension, this building tension, right? We get that we're set up with the immigration officer who says, look, you will be, if we find out that you're lying, you will be deported and he will have to go to federal prison.
25,000 and
federal prison or whatever, right? He still commits, right? And so that's a huge piece of tension. But then we add to that the family dynamic. We also add that Sandra's character she's starting to feel love and connection and seeing what's there. And then we also get the tension of the fact that like they are falling for each other, but they're trying to not fall for it. Like, not necessarily not trying to, but that like the idea of them falling for each other is like, what? What's happened? Like, is it maybe? It's just some good stuff. So I don't know. Really phenomenal job with the writing and with the acting on both, Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock's part. I will say though, the naked run-in scene, probably one of my hands down favorite of all rom-com movies ever.
Also, what a coincidence that The Ugly Truth had a similar bumping into someone naked scene, right? Yeah.
But they did it better.
They did it a million times better. And didn't I say that was my favorite scene in that movie?
Yeah.
Why? Because I loved the awkwardness of putting these two characters. But unfortunately, that wasn't the love interest, that guy, Craig, or whatever his name was, right?
Yeah,
whereas here, you leverage, again, body humor and literally body humor. And these two individuals who are just masters of their craft in romance, in comedy, in just clashing into each other. It's so good.
There was a couple malfunctions during this sequence.
Okay.
But that and there was obviously that's a pretty nervous scene to do. But that Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock, it's reported that they were able to find the humor and that it was really quite successful. And we see it on screen.
We see it, yeah.
It is just so good.
I think a couple of weeks ago, it was her birthday, and he did an Instagram post about that scene.
I just why are you wet?
Why are you wet? That's the question he has. Not why are you naked, but why are you wet?
Oh, dude. No, the body humor for this scene is just top notch, bro.
Just so good.
They fully committed to it. Straight on. They're so good, so good. Also, the freaking dog, bro.
That dog
in this movie cracks me up every single. The Sandra Bullock and her body language for yeah, it's so good. I just like she has some kind of moment like this in a lot of her films.
Yeah.
And I'm like always here for it.
Always. The way she chugged that phone though, that was a full on like just solid throw. It was great.
Yeah, so great.
That dog. I want to talk a little bit about supporting cast a little bit, specifically Gertrude, the ex-girlfriend.
Okay.
How do you feel about her character?
Wait.
Okay, but could you have gone with this movie without her? Does having the ex-girlfriend in the backdrop create more tension, or was it just not?
So here's where I think they did a good enough setup and payoff that she warrants to be in the film, right? Written. If you're looking at the written and you're looking at the performance, do I think she is essential for their film? Absolutely not. I think we already get that to a level.
Yeah.
With Betty White in the airplane and her faking her heart attack, as well as the fact that like her mom or even his dad could have been the one that to like made him bring that connection to him.
Okay. Yeah.
Look, to me, like, yeah, it was kind of impactful. Like, she knows him, like, romantically. She understands the situation. But to me, I just feel like, honestly, now that as we're talking, I didn't even think about this until just now. But, like, to me, I really would love to have the dad. Because, like, they get off the airplane.
Yeah.
And they have this whole bit of, like, it's like this weird exposition of, like, oh, he's going to tell her she loves him. And she's going to tell him that she loves him. And he's, like, oblivious. And it's, like, I don't know. It just, like, I felt like it would have been so good to have the dad come back and Ryan give those lines. I absolutely hate this girl. And then she goes and does something like this. Right? And him maybe picking up that note and, like, looking at that and realizing that his son has something.
And then you would have cut out the heart attack on the plane.
No, I wouldn't have cut out the heart attack.
Oh, because that's the moment. That's the moment when the dad and Andrew
they have the fight or whatever.
The realization, right?
That would cut out that scene.
I think here's what happened. There's a scene when they go into town. She goes into the computer, dial-up internet, right?
You think there's a scene that was cut? And
he sees Gertrude outside with the kids, and he leaves to go talk to her, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then we cut back to her leaving she looks out there. Yeah. Right. I think there was a scene there that explored more that relationship.
And it probably just didn't work as much. Like, it just maybe just derailed or something.
Maybe it was too long. They cut it for length reasons, whatever it was, right? And I think that's why they had her come back in at that moment to be like, hey, no, you should go get her, right? I that's my theory. That I think that there was a scene there that was cut out. And that's why it feels kind of like she's here to like get on the rebound and lure him in. But I like the thought of like subverting expectations, because that's what I always think, like, oh, she's coming in here, he's heartbroken, she's coming in for the rebound, whatever, and she kind of helps him. Yeah, that I think it would have been more earned had they kept the scene there. I would bet big money that there was a scene that
I would bet big money on that too. In fact, every single time I watch this movie, I'm like, that's weird. There's nothing. Like, he leaves and we don't cut to that. Yeah. Especially because she just is like, she's checking email at that.
Yeah, she's checking email. Yeah. And they go out of their effort to like show him see.
Yeah, and then she kind of talks to him about it. Yeah. Right after this. I don't know. It definitely feels like there's something that was there that was cut. And like I said, I don't know. I mean, we'd probably, like, in my version, we'd have to lose the Betty White scene, but I think they could have made some other scenario, right? They could have, she still could have faked her, like, her some kind of heart attack, just so that they could get into the airplane. Yeah. Anyways, all right. Look, we got to talk about Ramon.
Let's talk about Ramon.
Who's the guy who plays Ramon?
Oscar Nunez.
Dude, Oscar Nunez, bro. He's also in. He's like in. Is he in Adam Sandler movies? No.
No, he's in The Office.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
He's in The Office. He's most recently he's in that Mr. Iglesias. Have you seen that Mr. Iglesias on Netflix with
With Fluffy.
Fluffy? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I have seen that show. I've only like 1 or 2 episodes.
He was in The Lost City with Sandra Bullock again.
He was.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah.
Yeah, the movies.
That's the next Sandra Bullock movie we're doing.
Every season we're gonna have at least one Cedric Bullock movie.
We have to have 2 apparently because we did 2 last season.
Well, we've only done this one this year, right?
Yeah, this is the only one we've done.
We'll probably have to do it. Oh, we're gonna. Well, now I'm like, do we put Ocean 8 on? Do we have to do?
Listeners, we're planning.
Every month we're doing a different topic, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so we've been planning out our year, and we have heist movies for a month.
For next month.
Month.
And we've decided to not do any of the Oceans movies because we feel like the Oceans movies deserve their own month, right?
Yeah, but not this year.
But not this year.
That's what you said, right?
Unless the people say otherwise.
Yeah, tell us what you want. No, look, okay, Ramon, dude, freaking slays.
Is dancing like this, like
My amor.
mi amor.
I also love the trope the fact that he's like this only Mexican and he's the one doing everything.
Everything.
All the like what is this? What is happening right now?
I love just like, again, this movie's so good with putting people in uncomfortable situations. The most uncomfortable situations. And him coming in and his strip dance where he's on the floor. I would show you, but we have to move the cameras right now and probably put a mature rating on our video. But like he's on his back and he's just thrusting. And Grandma says, "Oh, I haven't seen that move."
Oh, freaking Betty, dude! Bless Betty White, dude. R.I.P. Bro.
Oh, so good. I love Ramon.
I just love that he just shows up like in he's just that one guy that just like he does everything in this town. Also, there would only be one Mexican in Alaska.
In Alaska, yeah.
Listen, if you're listening and you're the only Mexican in Alaska, shout out to you.
Shout out.
We you're the real MVP.
Great, just humor. Great character to just insert humor throughout the movie. Love him.
Look, I just want to say a quick note to Mary Steenburgen and Craig T. Nelson. They're really good looking parents. And I could see that Ryan Reynolds would come from both those two. Like, they're both really good looking. And I'm just like, I just hope I just want to age somewhat okay. No, I just think they provided Betty White and the mom trying to connect with Margaret, and especially after not seeing their son for 3 years, and providing that additional tension of like coming back, seeing their son, seeing her son, Andrew chopping that freaking the canoe. I've always loved that scene. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I just feel like that scene, even though it's like there's no real dialogue in that, it's that whole sequence just adds to the sequence with Andrew and his dad.
Yes, and it also adds because then mom goes, talks to dad and says, "What did you do? What happened? Fix this. Because what if they have grandkids, and I go another 3 years without seeing them, right? And then it pays off again later when she's trying on the dress, and she, and the mom says like, maybe for the holidays we'll come,
and
visit you, right?" And then for her to have, I love that wedding dress try on scene.
Really good.
Yeah, it really is that turning point for her character. But for her to then say, "Oh, maybe we'll come visit you guys instead," and for her mom to just like break down and start crying, like it again, such a great way to incorporate the family dynamic and the relationship that he has with them to help the movie, but everyone progress as a character.
This movie doesn't necessarily follow like they have a sidekick, like that most romance comedies have.
Right.
The family is the comedy sidekick for both. I think Betty White, obviously, for a little bit with Sandra Bullock's character and the mom, and Ryan Reynolds, again, mom and Graham. And I think, like, I kind of think that it's not necessarily a subvert expectation, but I guess they do, of like some of the regular things that happen in some of the other romance comedy movies. Mm-hmm. Not a ton, but like just some of these things that I think adds to this movie just really hitting home, and making it being a home run for romance romance rom-coms.
So the writer Peter Chiarelli, so his other big movie is Crazy Rich Asians that he wrote.
Oh, interesting.
Or at least adapted the novel into the screenplay. Right. So again, we see that also in Crazy Rich Asians, the weird family dynamics, the strained relationships that they have with parents. Mm-hmm. So kudos to him for being able to bring those strained relationships on screen. And I think Crazy Rich Asians does it slightly a little bit better because of just the tone of that movie. But yeah, great job.
Great job. Okay, you have in our show notes to talk about the significance of the Alaskan backdrop. What do you got for me?
I love it. I love it. I love everything about the fact that they're flying out to Alaska and the captain says we're about to land in Juneau, and she's like, "What? I thought we're going
to Sitka."
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, but we have to take a plane, boat, another plane, whatever, right? And just the fact that it's the house as well.
Oh, dude.
Right? And she's like, I didn't know you were rich. I'm not. My parents are. Yeah, that's what a rich kid would say, right?
It's just another example of us seeing a little bit more of the character, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, she is someone who is rich. She is well off. She's put herself in as like a head individual in this publishing company, right? She makes and lands deals. Yeah. She's a closer, but she comes from nothing, she recognizes like, okay, these are the people. You're the people that I hated, or mm-hmm. The little moment, like that little line is so good.
It's so good. No, I mean, I would never have thought of Alaska Sitka being a perfect backdrop for a rom-com.
Dude, I think Alaska period is a beautiful backdrop for any sort of movie.
Yeah. But I don't know, maybe I just think more of like a
winter
cliffhanger right there with John Travolta.
Bro,
Stallone.
Alaska is one of the most beautiful places here in America.
It is, yeah.
And I don't think I'm right there with you, but like, it's been on my bucket list to go to because I know that like it's beautiful during that like small little window that you get.
Yeah.
Before it turns into just freaking winter's coming.
Winter's coming.
I actually love that it's in Alaska. I actually will say that this time around, I quite noticed, I really was able to pinpoint quite a few shots that were super VFX shots mm-hmm. that were like, oh, this is maybe aged a little bit. Because they actually filmed a lot of it in Massachusetts and in one other location. I can't remember off the top of my head. Let's see for my.
I also think, obviously, that them being in this little remote town also adds to the challenges, one, of getting there, but also of secluding them.
Yes.
And having to go into town to get her phone or to separate him from her while she goes with mom and grandma, right? Like, I think it really plays really well into the story.
Not only that, but like, everybody knows it. The Paxtons know everybody. And so like the scene, look,
the fact that you were able to get a wedding, set up a wedding in less than 48 hours. Okay.
Let me talk about this for a second. The fact they put this together, and it's not like just like a wedding. The thing is like,
no,
it feels like how the fact that they put this all together in a day wild.
Yeah.
Okay, that just shows how much money these guys have. 2, the fact that Sandra decides to ditch him at the altar. How pissed would you be as the parents?
Yes, Superman, right? But I think also like, I love that they decided to have her break up with him there on the altar rather than not show up and leave like a note,
Dude.
because it gives us an opportunity. It gives Margaret the opportunity to really own up to, one, this situation that she's put Andrew in, 2, for her to grow, and for her to like also like finally, how she said earlier, I forgot what it was like to have a family, to really see them as like family, to say, I don't want to follow through with this because these are humans and this is a family that I'm going to impact. And the line that she says at the end, like, don't let this become a rift between you guys.
Sandra Bullock in While You're Sleeping. Okay, we also love that scene. But in that movie...
Oh, yeah, right? She does something similar, yeah. Okay, yeah.
She does something similar, but the difference is that, like, in this one, if I remember correctly, like, we had quite a bit of discussion on that movie and talking how, like, we really liked that scene, but at the same time, there was something that we were missing. I can't remember. I'm like, I just had my train of thought just totally bailed. It's late, and I'm like...
It's late. No, I totally forgot that there's a similar scene there.
You did, that's all I've been thinking about since watching. Like, they have such a similar scene, but the difference for me is like I feel like in this one, her character, and I don't know if it's because she's already played a similar moment or whatever, but she delivers the line so powerfully. Like you said, like don't let me be the cause that you guys don't make amends, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then she just walks off gracefully, right? Everyone shook.
Everyone, yeah.
Okay, Ramon is the most shook because she didn't ask him to walk off with him. Yeah. but that, like, it just feels like I was just trying to think, and I mean it's been a year since we watched While You Were Sleeping, but I just feel like this might be better than that. It's While You Were Sleeping.
That's like
this wedding scene.
Yeah. Okay.
Breaks like this. The culmination.
Yeah.
With this is better than that one.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm gonna have to revisit it.
Yeah, you might have to watch just the clip of it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I want to kind of finish with this. How do you feel about that end sequence where she leaves? He doesn't catch up to her right at the airport. Next, we see her in New York, and he shows up. Do you believe in their relationship? I had issues with going back to The Ugly Truth. I just didn't see it. I didn't see, not only did I not see their chemistry, but I just could not believe that she would fall for him.
Yeah.
Right? Is this believable? Does the movie do a good enough job to sell this relationship?
I think so. I had a moment, like I haven't seen it, but there's actually a deleted scene of Sandra Bullock before they meet up again.
Okay.
I haven't seen the scene. I just found out and I want to see it. And so I think there might be something more there that like showcases a little bit more of her growth in wanting to, like, realizing that she wants to be with Andrew. Mm-hmm. I do think that there is. And I think that what the reason why is because we see the character growth between the two of them. And, I mean, we visually see it with her clothing and her style and everything. But also that we want it.
Yeah.
We want them to be together. Mm-hmm. Right. And, I think his monologue's great. Also, Sandra Bullock's whispering is phenomenal. I'm a sucker for her whispering. Anyways,
I love it. I love the monologue. And I don't mean to dog on The Ugly Truth, right? But like The Ugly Truth, they both have this monologue as they're up on the hot air balloon, but this one is just more.
They both carry like a negative like vibe.
Yeah. In The Ugly Truth.
Ugly Truth and this movie.
In this one, yes.
Because Ryan Reynolds comes, he's like, 3 days ago, I dreamt of you getting hit by a bus.
But before that, I love that he comes in and she says, just not even a hi, why are you panting? Because I've been running from Alaska. I just love that delivery. Yes. Yeah. I think you're right. Like, we as an audience, you as filmmakers did a great job to make me as a viewer want this relationship.
Yes.
Right? So I'm yearning for it. I'm loving it. I love, again, he shows up out of breath. And they have this little like quirky dialogue that happens between them.
Dude.
But
Go ahead.
what does it for me, and I didn't notice until this viewing, I wish I'd written it down, but maybe did I write it down? She says, you don't want to be with me, right? Like, I'm a mess.
I'm better off by myself.
Yeah, like it would be easier for you to be without me. And then he says, you're right, that would be easier. And there is, maybe we'll do a scene breakdown of this, because I think this is my favorite scene. There is like 8 seconds where the camera just sits on her. No dialogue, no movement, and she slowly, again, the beauty that is Sandra Bullock in her acting, just break down, and she just cries, right? And I think it's such a unique decision. The movie's about to end. I'm sure the studio's like, we cut out several scenes, we need to make this faster, but to just linger on her, let us sit with our emotions as viewers and let the character sit with her emotions, and for her to break down and say, yeah, no, I do love you.
Yeah.
I freaking loved it. She is so good. Sandra Bullock, man.
And this is why I'm saying, like, I think that like when you break it down, like the payoff, were rewarded from her leaving, and it would have been too easy for them to like it. I love that we come back to where we began.
Yes.
Okay, we're back where their home turf is.
Yeah.
Right.
Everyone's watching them.
Everyone, like the whole team, like everyone is, and then we get the reactions of some of the team members, and these little moments, and it is really just beautiful, and I love it. I love it so much. Ryan, the monologue they gave Ryan Reynolds is just, Sandra Bullock delivers that sequence.
Yes.
The way Sandra Bullock can. In fact, Julia Roberts was like a runner-up to play Margaret.
Oh, really?
And I think that they knew that Sandra Bullock they knew that she could deliver.
Yeah.
And we get that.
And we do.
And look,
not because Julia Roberts is
no.
Yeah.
No. But like, for this character, for this film, in Ryan Reynolds, like, I think the casting department nailed it, right? They nailed who they brought in for this. I know we deliberately chose this movie because we wanted to compare it to like Truth, and as much as there are always going to be movies that are going to be better than another movie.
Yes.
And we need that because we need to see the contrast. And sometimes we need to watch a dumb movie. Okay, sometimes we just want to we want to watch a dumb movie just for the laughs. But it's movies that we can compare and we can look at. And this is why we do this podcast, because we both love movies, and up until this time period, I've never been able to like really like, I don't talk about movies very often.
Yeah.
And because of this podcast, I get to do it with you, and it truly makes my week every single week. Because I learned so much about filmmaking. I learned so much about the writing process, about all sorts of different things, but also get to appreciate movies that I've loved and learn new appreciation to movies that I haven't had a connection with for a while. And that is why we do this podcast.
That is why we do this podcast. Exactly. Solid movie. Great movie. I think this is probably, of all rom-coms, I think this is my top 5.
Oh,
I'm gonna go there. Definitely my top 5.
I think it might be my top 3 for sure.
Really?
Dude, I will watch this movie anytime it's on.
Yeah.
If someone like what are we gonna choose? I'm like, I would 100% always go like The Proposal. It's just so good. I just really love it.
It's great. It really is.
I love the comedic beats. Like, we didn't even touch on some of them. I mean, like the what do make the things go wrong? The fact that Sandra Bullock with Betty White is singing to the windows, to the floor.
Till the sweat drips off my balls.
And then Reynolds like, you're a freak. It's so freaking good.
I forget how good this movie is. The two best, really great chemistry. Really great chemistry between the two.
Chemistry.
And I do, going back to something you said earlier, as we were talking, I think lately Ryan Reynolds has just absorbed the personality of Deadpool.
Yes, that's a really great description.
And this isn't necessarily a criticism, but like Deadpool is Ryan Reynolds and Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool, and I feel like that's just how he's embraced this, and that's good for him. He's had the success. Great, that's fine. I want to see him again in a rom-com.
Isn't he gonna be in If? Oh, he's not. So that's not a rom-com.
It's not a rom-com, but he is in it. Yes.
I'm really hopeful that he comes back to this sort of roots of his acting.
Yeah.
Like, I'm hopeful that, like, with John Krasinski, with whatever they've come up together, like, that it's gonna be something that we'll appreciate and we'll be reminded how much Ryan Reynolds is great.
Yeah.
So, but I'm with you. I really want Ryan Reynolds in rom-com again. I actually, Sandra Bullock's the most recent one with the Lost City.
Yeah.
Subpar, and it makes me like, all I can think about when I watch that movie is like, I really just wanted to watch The Proposal.
Oh, okay. I love Sandra Bullock in that, though.
I'm not saying that I didn't like her.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that, like, at the end of that movie, I'm like, all I can think about is like, I wish I would just watch The Proposal. Because like
Sure. Yes. No. You're right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But that movie's funny.
But she's great in it.
She's great in anything.
We should probably do a Sandra Bullock movie that's not a rom-com.
I actually had the thought that we should have one whole season where we just pick one actor, an actress that we just watch, like
a whole season, a whole year.
No, not of the whole year. Just every month we pick an actor or actress, and we like hand select movies that are like some of their popular ones and some of they're like obscure movies that people don't ever talk about.
Okay. We could do that.
I want to do Arnold Schwarzenegger in that. I feel like he just would be great. Anyways, all right. Well, we hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we'd love it if you could subscribe it or wherever you get your podcast, or on YouTube. And if you love this episode, share it with one friend because it really does help us get discovered. And we're on a mission to help more people love movies this year.
And have a space where they can talk movies.
Yes.
So, yeah, please do share. But more importantly, we want to hear from you. What did you think of The Proposal? What are some of your favorite moments, comedic beats? What did we miss? You can always engage with us on all of our socials at Real Chums to join the conversation. Or feel free to email us at realchums.com.
You can find me, Danny, at Rubio_TV, and Marcel on at Marstrosity, MARZTROSITY. And so join us next week as we continue our month-long viewing of rom-coms with our final movie. P.S. I Love You.
We're going back to Gerard Butler. I have not seen this.
Bro, I'm so excited for you to watch this film.
Everyone tells me
You're gonna bawl.
It's an emotional roller coaster.
Or at least cry. You're going to at least cry.
I'll be honest. I don't even know the premise of this.
Dude, even better. Even better.
Should I see the trailer?
No.
Just go cold.
Go in blind.
Okay.
Cold turkey. I want raw feelings from next episode. All I want to talk about is I want to question you on your initial feelings with this movie.
maybe I'll record myself watching this movie.
Maybe you should.
Maybe we'll do like a live streaming.
I have thought about this. Or like, those first anyways, we digress.
We'll talk. We'll watch it
We'll see you guys next week.
later.